Okay, the first thing that I want to do is I want to take this plate from that I found at the thrift store, and this candlestick that I also found at the thrift store, which interestingly enough is a Martha Stewart candlestick holder. So I lucked out with that. And I'm going to want to glue these two things together. So I got some 3M glass adhesive, and all I'm going to do is just apply this to the bottom of the candlestick holder. Now, you'll notice that this is actually the bottom of the candlestick holder, and it's a little bit rougher than up here, and it actually has just a little bit more surface area. So I'm going to actually use the bottom of that candlestick holder. Now, I always like to just use a regular old paper bag from the grocery store to protect my work surface. And all I want to do is just take this glass adhesive, altitude, and just apply a ring of it right around that white part. And it doesn't have to be super perfect. Got a little extra on the inside there. The trick to this is I want to place it in the center of my plate for a couple seconds and then remove it and then place it again. You're going to want to let this dry overnight. It will bond pretty quickly, but you want to make sure. Now, if you are doing this for your wedding, especially, and you're going to be moving this around, make sure that you use this glass adhesive and not super glue. I've gone the super glue route, and super glue doesn't work.
Here's what you'll need for this project. You're going to need some Martha Stewart Crafts decoupage pieces and designs. And for this project, I used the paper doilies, and I also used the metallic trim. You're also going to need some glass adhesive to adhere the plate to the candlestick. You'll need some plates and some candlesticks, both of which can be sourced at your local thrift store. You're also going to need some isopropyl alcohol, and you will need some decoupage. And I used Martha Stewart Crafts gloss finish for my decoupage today. You will need some decoupage brushes. You can always use the sponge brushes, but I prefer the soft bristle Martha Stewart Crafts brushes. They just apply the decoupage a lot more smoothly and evenly, and they're just really nice. And if you'd like to add some color, you can also use Martha Stewart Crafts metallic paints. For this project, I did not add color, but I do think it's a nice touch for some projects. And basically, you just paint the craft paint onto your surface. You let it dry. You might need to do a second or third coat to get that nice color saturation you're looking for. And then once that's all dry, you can decoupage right onto that color. So let's get on with the tutorial.
All I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my decoupage, and I'm going to dip my brush directly in it, and I'm going to put a nice layer right on top of the plate. Now, you want to not have this be too thick, but you don't want it to be too thin either. You just wash the whole plate with the decoupage, and this will dry clear. So although I'm using just a white on a white plate, so it's not that big a deal. But then what you want to do is you want to take your piece of paper and your cutout, and you want to apply decoupage to the back of this. And so this is where my shopping bag comes in really handy. So just again, super simple, just brush that right on. You're going to want to lift that up and just place it on your surface. Just pat it down with your fingers. Martha Stewart also makes a brayer that can come in really handy if you're using certain papers. And then you want to take another layer of decoupage and just go back over the design. And you want to kind of just smooth that out moving around any excess that has bubbled up from underneath the decoupage, underneath the paper. I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit more so I don't have any extra decoupage all over the place. And you can also just wet a damp cloth and use that to pick up the excess as well. You just want to make sure that it's everything's laying down flat. And grab some of this excess here. And that's it. All you want to do is let this dry for about an hour or two and then apply another coat. Let that second coat dry for an hour or two, apply a third coat, and let that third coat dry for an hour or two and and then not apply any more coats. Then you want to let it cure for 21 days. And I'm not too worried about this because it's a cupcake stand, but if you wanted to do any kind of plates that would go into the dishwasher, you'd want to let it cure for 21 days before washing it. But if you let it cure for that amount of time, it will be dishwasher safe.